Yeah, it's it's one of those seasons in the state of Florida. It's a lot of disappointing things happening in the state of Florida, mainly two of the big programs. Despite that, we're gonna get into it. We also got to recap what took place in week 3 of the season before we talk about the state of emergency that you see on the screen here. And then we'll get you ready for week 4 of the college football season, which should be a doozy. Thank you for tuning in to Gridiron on the Playmakers Bar Network YouTube channel, on the Playmakers Bar Network Facebook page, and on Darnell, the Playmakers Highlands LinkedIn page. Let's talk college football.
I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
Good afternoon, good people. Hope y'all having a terrific Wednesday on this September 18th, 2024. As y'all can see, we do have a new logo. Shout out to my man Cole Johnson for the new logo for bearing down the gridiron. I love it. And anytime he does something for me, I try to use it in representation of what we do. Nevertheless, we have a lot to get into today. This might be one of them episodes that I go over the number a lot of time because as y'all saw and heard me as I opened the show, there's a lot of things for me to discuss when it comes to this state of Florida that I live in, and it's not a pleasant one. Two of the main schools in the state not doing well, and it's very, very depressing for both fan bases. Obviously, I'm going to get you your recap of the Gridiron Roundup for week 3. We're also going to look ahead to week 4 because we have some interesting games coming up for week 4 of the college football season. And then, first order of business is to get you your news and notes from the college gridiron in our 2-minute drill. Wisconsin quarterback Tyler Van Dyke has torn ACL. Wisconsin quarterback Tyler Van Dyke will miss the rest of the season after sustaining a torn ACL in his right knee during the 42-10 loss to Alabama. Sources confirm ESPN Pete Thamel. Dyke sustained the injury on the Wisconsin's opening possession while trying to scramble along the sideline. His knee appeared to buckle just before being hit by Alabama's Kenyon Cope. Van Dyke had to be helped to the injury tent and was later carted to the locker room. He was appealed on the Wisconsin sideline after halftime in street clothes and crutches with his right leg in a large brace. Thoughts and prayers go out to Tyler Van Dyke. Hope you get a full recovery, sir. Whenever you have the surgery, if you not have already had the surgery, that the surgery was successful or that it will be successful, because it's a shame that your season ended the way that it did. We hate to see season-ending surgeries in any sport, especially in football. Unfortunately, you were struck with an torn ACL. So thoughts and prayers go out to you, Mr. Van Dyke. Hope you have a full recovery, sir. All right. The only guy who does not live in the state of Florida but is a fan of a Florida team is the only one who can celebrate, and that'll be my co-host for Monster Wrestling, Cool McCain. What's up, bro? Lucky for you, you don't have to be indulged in this conversation when I get to that part of the segment, which will be the third part of the show. Now, moving on, we have here Air Force. Make your name. Air Force emerges as a serious target for the American Athletic Conference. America has emerged as a serious target to be added to the American Athletic Conference on Monday. Air Force has been reformed as a conversation as a potential AAC ad in recent months, prior to the Pac-12 taking 4 Mountain West teams last week. For those of you remember, we talked about where Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State will be joining the Pac-12 in 2026, 2027. Yeah. The American Conference released a statement Monday night saying league is a premier brand firmly grounded in grit and hard work with powerful and prestigious member institutions. In the past 5 months, we have prioritized seizing every opportunity that enhances value of our member intuitions and student athletes. The crazy thing is the American Conference, they already have Army and Navy a part of the conference. So if you add Air Force to the American Conference, they have all 3 military academy schools in their conference. That has never been done to my knowledge. Now, those of you out there who've been watching college football for a very long time than me, let me know if Army, Navy, and Air Force all been in the conference before. I think this is the first time this has ever happened. So that would be very interesting if Air Force does go to the American Conference to join Army and Navy with all 3 of those schools in one conference together. I'm looking forward to that if that happens. I kind of wanted to happen because I want to see it. That way you don't have to worry about how to schedule it. You can just schedule it as well. Army and Navy is not a conference game because they want to keep that at the end of the year. So they decided that would be the only non-conference game thus far. So that begs another question. If Air Force does join the conference, will all 3 of those games with Air Force versus Army, Air Force versus Navy, and Navy versus Army, will all 3 of those games not be conference games? That's a lot to think about for you in American Conference, but it's a very interesting thought. If I'm being honest, this is a very interesting thought for me. Looking forward to that. All right, now we got, when I saw this, I laughed. This is great. Tennessee increased ticket prices by 10% to help pay athletes. And what is believed to be the first arraignment of its kind, Tennessee fans of all sports will be charged a 10% talent fee on tickets to help pay athletes as part of the new revenue share plan set to begin in 2025. The university shared the news with the football season ticket holders via email Tuesday, which included an impression 4-minute video of athletic director Danny White telling fans the talent fee and other strategies were part of an extensive plan to continue our dominance in college athletics and build something like never seen before, close quote. In addition to the 10% increase on all ticket invoices, season tickets, and single game purchases, as well as donations for those seats, Tennessee will add an average increase of 4.5% on all football tickets. Quote, in this era of name, image, and likeness, or NIL, there has never been a connection between resources and competitive success. We want to be a leader in college sports. That means we want to be a leader in revenue sharing, close quote. That is from the AD himself, Mr. White. So, Tennessee fans, volunteer fans, see a 10% increase. I don't even know how much ticket prices are up there. If anybody lives in Tennessee, you can let me know. But 10%, interesting. And that's on all sports. And then you're talking an actual 4.5 on football tickets as well to help produce and assure the NIL deals are getting done. Interesting. Interesting way of going about it. We saw that Oklahoma State was trying to do a QR code on their helmets for the season. That way, people at home who's watching can scan the QR code with their phone and donate to the Oklahoma State athletic program for the NIL. And the NCAA cut that off for, I think, television purposes, if I remember correctly. Interesting to see how these universities trying to come up with different ways to come up with the money to help with name, image, and likeness for their athletes. Very interesting, by the way. Very, very interesting. Georgia Bulldogs took a hit, a very interesting hit. Georgia guard Tate Ratledge undergoes ankle surgery. Georgia All-American guard Tate Ratledge underwent tightrope surgery on his sprained left ankle Monday and is suspected to miss a handful of games. Georgia Bulldogs coach Kirby Smart announced Tuesday. Ratledge, a senior from Rome, Georgia, was hurt in the second quarter of the team's 13-12 victory in Lexington, Kentucky, this past Saturday. The procedure typically has a recovery period of 4 to 6 weeks. That's quite a bit of games that you're going to miss, and I know my Bulldog fans, they are kind of upset about something else that has something to do with their team, and probably forgot about the injury to their All-American guard. But nevertheless, we will talk about what happened to Georgia a little later on in the show. All right. And then we have this. I saw this and then I was like, yep, here we go. ACC, Clemson, and Florida State renewed talks on revenue distribution. Talks between Clemson, Florida State, and the Atlantic Coast Conference, or all Coast Conference, as some people put it, since they stretch from the West Coast to the East Coast now, have ramped up in recent weeks, according to sources, on a proposal that would allot a greater share of revenue to schools based on brand valuation and television ratings, as well as potential altering the expiration of the league's grant of rights, which currently runs through the 2036 year, in exchange for the Tigers and Seminoles dropping their losses against the conference. According to multiple sources within the league, conversations are primarily, and the sides are not close to an agreement, but the conversation represent a strong signal that Florida State and Clemson are open to remaining in the conference under more favorable financial terms. The proposal, which was formulated by Clemson and Florida State and discussed by the league's presidents during Tuesday's regularly scheduled meeting, includes additional money going to schools with better ratings success in football and basketball. While the proposal has never been widely discussed or disputed among conference athletic directors, administrations from more than a half a dozen schools who spoke with ESPN said they would at least be open to some alternative revenue splits. Interesting. It's, in a way, I know I can see why they're doing it, but it's also interesting that they're doing this in a year where one of the two schools doesn't look very marketable right now. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm gonna talk about it a little later on in the show. And before we close out the 2 minute drill, news popped up earlier about around 11:45 this morning, and it's sticking with the ACC. Wait for it, set Oregon State series to replace Ole Miss game. Wait till you hear this. Wake Forest and Oregon State announced a home and home series Wednesday that will see the Demon Deacons head to Corvallis in 2025, and the Beavers make the return trip to Winston-Salem, North Carolina in 2029. For Wake Forest, the 2025 game will replace a travel road trip to Ole Miss, which has been canceled by the Demon Deacons, a move that generated criticism from Rebels coach Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss, who went to Wake Forest, beat Wake Forest 40-6 in Western Salem on this past weekend. After the game, Kiffin criticized Wake Forest athletic director John Corey for canceling their return trip, saying that violated an unwritten rule. According to a source who told ESPN that Wake Forest has been working with Ole Miss for the past several years to move the return trip, but was unable to reach an agreement. The home and home series with Oregon State will be more financially lucrative for Wake Forest and helps fill a need on the Beaver schedule created when the Pac-12 fell apart with 10 teams departing this past during the summer. Here's what the athletic director of Wake Forest said, quote, "We are committed to making decisions that best serves our program and our student athletes. And that includes bringing national games to Winston-Salem. We have a high degree of respect for Wake Forest and their fans, and we congratulate them on their victory last weekend in sold out IG Stadium that took place in North Carolina. But given the ongoing financial pressure of the new era of college athletics and our priority on continuing to grow resources to benefit our student athletes, it was the right business decision to secure this 2-game home and home series with Oregon State and canceling the playing game in Oxford next year." Here's the funny part. You didn't cancel it before the game. You did it after the game. So you went into the game with this being scheduled. Okay, they coming to us. We go to them next year. Fine. That's usually how home and home series go. Not one comes to you, and then 4 years later they make the return to it. That's not how it usually goes. It's 1 year there, the very next year the other place. So you let this game happen. You got your ass whooped 40-6. Now you don't want to go to Oxford because you know it's going to be even worse with Ole Miss having a home field advantage. That is so disrespectful. I don't want to hear about it was a business decision. No, you didn't want your players to mess around, be on national television because Ole Miss is a ranked team, and you know these networks love putting ranked teams on TV. You didn't want your boys to be on national television getting their ass handed to them by one of the top teams in the Southeastern Conference. Now, I'm not making this a ACC and a Southeastern Conference thing, but if we talking business and financial situation here, you really think Oregon State gonna bring you more money than Ole Miss, who's in one of the most remarkable conferences in college football outside of the Big Ten? But you want to go to a school who was trying to rebuild a conference that went from the Pac-12 to the Pac-2, where we were turned into the Pac-6 when the 4 Mountain West teams come in there. That's a more lucrative deal for you. That's going to bring you national coverage. That is what he said, right? That includes bringing national games to Winston-Salem. Does anybody watching or listening, when you listen to this later on, or when you listen to this to the Real Rise Radio, shout out to my brother YSA Health Day for his radio station, or even on American 502 American Angel, anybody that's listening later or right now, live, whatever the case may be, do you really want to watch Wake Forest and Oregon State go at it? You will tolerate Ole Miss and Wake Forest because SEC, ACC is like, okay, I see what is going on. I don't like Wake Forest chances, but I can tolerate. I get to see Ole Miss, get to see if they gonna do what they supposed to do and whoop some ass and do what they got to do. But bring national games to Winston-Salem, in which you just had Ole Miss at your campus this past weekend, and it was on TV, and you got your ass whooped like everybody thought you would. Now, don't go out there and say the right thing and say how you really feel. You didn't want to see your bus get blown the hell out again the very next year when you had to go to Oxford. And trust me, that game was going to be an ass whooping because y'all don't have the horses or the weapons to hang with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. That's what this really was about. Let's be honest. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to leave it there. If y'all have any thoughts, throw them in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, just throw them in the chat. But Wake Forest is running from Ole Miss because they got their ass whooped. That is my final word. That's the 2-minute drill. Now, instead of taking a break, actually, you know what? I am going to take a break. Let me take a quick break real quick. Then when we come back, we'll get you a gridiron roundup.
Porter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered a winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete.
Join these 2 football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron here on this Wednesday. Now, let's get into our Gridiron Roundup. All right, we getting back on last Friday, September 13th, where we saw the first Big 12 game for the Arizona Wildcats. They took the trip as the 20th ranked team to Kansas State to take on the 14th ranked Wildcats, and the Wildcats handle business. They handle business, okay, 31-7 on the primetime date down in I want to say Manhattan, Kansas. Avery Johnson 115 through the air, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 110 yards. This gave Arizona all kinds of fits, and they couldn't do nothing with it. So let's see how Arizona bounced back, because now you went with the big boys. You're not in the Pac-12 no more, you with the Big 12. And you're starting off 0-1. And matter of fact, both teams came into this game 2-0. So Kansas State stays undefeated, and Arizona State suffers their first loss of 20-24. Now let's go to Saturday. Saturday, we had a lot of games on Saturday. Alabama went up to Madison, Wisconsin, and destroyed the Wisconsin Badgers in a unbeaten matchup. LSU survived South Carolina. And then speaking of surviving, the 6th ranked Tigers of Missouri They survived 24 ranked Boston College 27-21 in an ACC versus SEC matchup. But we're going to focus on the LSU Tigers, the 16 ranked team, playing their first conference game of this season in Columbia, South Carolina, the site of College Game Day. Back and forth affair, and it looked like South Carolina and Shane Beamer was going to send the Bayou Bengals and their fan base into a frenzy because they was whooping on LSU. They put LSU in the bind early, but LSU ended up fighting back. And not only did they fight back and came out victorious. 36-33 win for the 16 ranked Tigers. The seat is a little calmer now for Brian Kelly. You got you a big road win against a South Carolina team that people's looking at like, hey, they might be able to do something. They might be able to do something. Now, game day went to Texas A&M week 1. They went to Michigan week 2. And then they went to Columbia, South Carolina week 3. Why I'm bringing that up, Texas A&M lost to Notre Dame in week 1. Michigan got destroyed by Texas in week 2. And South Carolina got a heartbreaking loss to LSU this past Saturday. So, College Game Day has been good for the road team, not the home team thus far this season. That's an interesting fact I want to throw out there. Home teams have not won when College Game Day has came there this season. They are 0-3. 0-3. That's all I'm saying. Continue on Saturday with our next slated games. Even though those are the stats that you just saw. Nussmeier had 2 touchdowns. Dorm had 2 rushing touchdowns to help put LSU out of it. Now, Oregon. That's what I'm talking about, Oregon. That is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Texas A&M, Florida. Good gracious. I'll be talking about Florida a little later. And then Notre Dame bounced back from their loss to Northern Iowa, and they went to West Lafayette and beat the brakes off Purdue 66-7. Jeez. That's a hell of a bounce back, but damn, that was an ass whooping. Jeez Louise. Man. Up, and Cole Johnson has arrived. He's here. He has his popcorn and he has his drink ready for this one. And he's going to have the same thing again tomorrow when I do Ramley Talk. Good gracious. This has been a bad week for me. But I'm going to talk about Florida later. Let's jump into what Oregon did. Oregon, you looked like the team that I wanted you to look like. You went to Corvallis and you beat the brakes off your in-state rival. That is a 35-point win. And it wasn't even close in the second half. You had a 22-14 lead going into the break. And after that, it was smooth sailing from that point forward. You beat the brakes off Oregon. Oregon. It was a destruction. That's what I'm talking about. That's the Oregon team that I picked to win the Big Ten. Disrespecting Ohio State in the process, by the way, if I'm being completely honest. Didn't really think that part through. But that's the Oregon team I need to see. Coach Johnson says Notre Dame should have focus on Northern Iowa like they did Purdue. I have no argument. I have no comeback. I have nothing to say to that. The only thing I know is they beat the brakes off Purdue. On the road, by the way. On the road. But good job, Oregon. Good job, Dan Laney. That's what I wanted to see right there. That's what I needed to see. As you can see, Dylan Gabriel, 2 touchdowns through the air. James with 2 rushing touchdowns. Johnson with 100 yards receiving. That's what they needed to see. That's all I needed. I need to see Oregon be Oregon. Now moving on. Now, the Apple Cup did not go the way that most people thought because Washington State stymied and stopped Washington. In Seattle, by the way. The backyard brawl. West Virginia. You had a 10-point lead and 4 minutes to go. A 10-point lead with 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And you let Pitt score 14 points in 4 minutes. to beat you 38-34 in the backyard brawl in Pittsburgh, PA. Yeah, that stings a lot of people that are West Virginia fans. They saw you had a 10-point lead, and it's like, oh, we got a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go. Yes, we got this. We're gonna win this one. This is good. This is good. But no. Pittsburgh drops 2 touchdowns on you in a 4-minute span to win that game. And then Colorado, the long prime time game that we had on the slate. Matter of fact, that's the game we're gonna talk about. So let's go to it. Because the first quarter looked at. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I watched the first quarter, even though it was 3-0, because I watched this game as it happened. First quarter, he was like, if Colorado State ever can find an offense in a passing game, Colorado's in trouble because, they couldn't do nothing. Shedeur Sanders looked terrible. Travis Hunter wasn't being targeted. Jimmy Horn dropped a couple of passes in the first quarter. Running game was nowhere to be found. It was ugly in the first quarter. Somehow that second quarter, they found a rhythm. And once they found a rhythm, Colorado State was done for. That was it. They smacked them boys from the second quarter on forward. Shedeur Sanders 3-10 through the air, 4 tugs, 2 of them to Travis Hunter, who also had a pick, by the way. See, I know y'all like to give, Heisman trophies to quarterbacks, but if Colorado gets on a streak, y'all better remember Travis Hunter. This man is playing both offense and defense. This man is playing every game. He playing every snap for like 2 or 3 plays every game. And is being very effective at both sides too, by the way. So let's make sure we keep an eye on Travis Hunter, okay? If the Colorado Buffalo start doing what they need to do. Because we all know if your team's not having success, we don't pay attention to those who we need to pay attention to because they teams suck. But if Colorado's getting on the right trail here, and this should be a start of it because you beat your in-state rival in their own building in Fort Collins by 19. Maybe it might be going to something, but you don't know just yet. But it was a good one. Very good job by the Colorado Buffaloes handling in business. Now, 7-3 this past week for me. 7-3. And I did not expect Washington to lose to Washington State. I still believe Washington has a better team, but for some reason they just couldn't get the job done. We already talked about having the West Virginia in a 4-minute span, and then Florida. Yeah, I'm gonna get to them in the next segment. I'm gonna get to them in another team in the next segment. But overall, I bounced back from that horrific week 2 when I went 4-6. So now I'm up to 18-12 on the year. I feel pretty good where I'm at. I just need to keep it rolling. With that being said, all right, I got to take a break because what I'm about to get into is not going to be very fun for me. We'll be back.
In a world where chronicles of the past are to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening.
This Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
Exclusively on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted Gunther against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA Knight. Oh, okay, then LA Knight hopped out the car. Let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Sports fans are gearing up, whether it be for the madness of March, whether it be for the Super Bowl, or even a little thing called WrestleMania. You can get all that at Fanatics, where they have a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, the NCAA, and the WWE. So go on and show that pride, that passion, that dedication fan that you are by repping your team, your league, or your favorite player. Fanatics, official license, everything.
Whether it's the men's college game,
The way that this season has been going, anything is possible.
the women's college game,
And how passionate Ancient Reef was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
the WNBA,
AJ Williams stood at 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young.
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmaker's blog, network YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brand Down the Gridiron. Normally, I would jump into our campus tour right after this, right after we get done with our Gridiron Roundup, but today's going to be different. That's why today's show might be a little longer than normal because it took 3 weeks. 3 weeks! And the pain and suffering has already begun. If you don't believe me, Cole Johnson. Oh, yeah. What about Napier? Referring to the Florida Gators. He wasn't done, though. Mike Novell should get to saying, get your ass out of there. Talk like Rudy Taggart got before him. And I can tell you this, Cole Johnson has been waiting for this day to come. He also is waiting for what tomorrow's going to be on Ramley Talk. He's been waiting for this. And here it is. And Cool McCain, who is a Miami Hurricane fan, who is feeling pretty good about his Hurricanes right now. They are ranked in the top 10. Look, Cam Ward looks spectacular. Cam Ward looks just as advertised. And Miami's look good on defense as well. UCF, the school that I attended for a year down in Orlando, Florida. They are undefeated right now. They had a nice comeback victory over TCU on the road in Fort Worth, Texas. This past weekend, they are 3-0. Miami's 3-0. UCF is 3-0. And yet, it is not great to be a Florida State Seminoles nor a Florida Gator. I know. There's so many different ways we can talk about both of these programs right now. So many different directions, so many different problems. This is a lot, okay? I didn't know it was going to take me 3 weeks to get here. Didn't see this coming. Florida State and Florida. And Cool says he feels good. And you should feel good, sir. You're undefeated. You're right in the top 10. Okay, you should feel good. Let's start with the team in Tallahassee. The Florida State Seminoles. You know that team that went undefeated, won the ACC last year. Quiet and whine about not making the playoffs when people like me was trying to tell y'all weren't going to make it because of the injury of Jordan Travis. But nobody didn't want to hear that. We went undefeated. We won every game. We shouldn't even be that. If the playoff committee said you have to look the part, not just play the part, and you don't look the part when you won a game, when you won your ACC championship game in the most boring championship game of the year, you're not going to make the playoffs. You won, you cried, and all your stars didn't want to play in a bowl game against Georgia in the Orange Bowl. Georgia wanted to make a statement, which they did. They beat you 60. They put up 63 points. That's all I know. They put up 60 points. I don't even forgot what score Florida State had. When Georgia can score 60 on you something's wrong. Okay, something is seriously wrong. But you didn't show up for the Orange Bowl. And before I continue, Victor's in the building. What's up, Victor? How you doing? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Playmaker, the hardest working super hacker in the broadcast with protection program? He sends greetings to the EP of all EPs, Cole Johnson, and the head eagle in charge himself, Cool McCain, which I'm pretty sure he's not happy with what took place on Monday Night Football, but we're talking college, so Cool can sit back and feel good about this. Undefeated, didn't show up for the bowl game, so you got your behind beat. You go into this season, you take your asses over to Dublin, Ireland to go against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and you don't finish the deal. They were able to keep the game-winning field goal, and they beat you in Dublin, Ireland. And week 0, you're 0-1 to start off. And 0-1 in the ACC, by the way, because that was an ACC game. Week 2, you come home on Labor Day, by the way. This means you had a full 11 days to get ready for Boston College. And what did they do? They beat you. Now you're 0-2 in ACC play, and you 0-2 overall. And then this past week, Memphis beat you. Now you're 0-3. You're 0-3. You scored 46 points this season in 3 games. That is 15.3 points per game. That means you can barely score 2 touchdowns with the extra point and a 2-point conversion. That's all you can muscle up per game. While your opponents are scoring 72 points, which is 24 points a game, which means they're scoring 3 touchdowns with 3 extra points and a field goal. That is +9 for the opponent. That is -9 for Florida State. You have a turnover ratio of -3. You committed 4 turnovers on offense, and your defense only got you 1. That doesn't help. You're passing. You're completing 56% of your passes. You're passing for 222 yards a game. You only have 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. Your running game. Oh, Cole Johnson loves running game. So Cole Johnson is going to love this statistics for Florida State. 71 carries for 156 rushing yards. That is 52 yards a game. That is 2.2 yards per carry, and you have 3 rushing touchdowns in the season. But we're talking about Florida State here. Cool, McCain. You're a Miami Hurricane fan, so you know the history of Florida State. The numbers that I just threw out there, are these alarming numbers to you when it comes to Florida State? When you hear the word Florida State, do you see these numbers associated with Florida State before I just said these numbers? I just want to throw that out there. Scoring 15 points a game, giving up 24. 2.2 yards per carry. 2.2 yards per carry. And all my life, and I'm a Gator fan, I have never thought I would see numbers like this from a Florida State team. Never. This is atrocious. This is terrible from Florida State. This is absolutely terrible. And Cool McCain chimes in. He says, no. I'm talking to a Hurricane fan, so he would know this just as much as I would. These is not the numbers we expect from Florida State, even though me and him both, we can't stand Florida State. But this is just terrible. This is terrible right here. Let's go to the defense. Defense are allowing 64.8% of the passes being completed against them. Teams are throwing for 174.4 yards a game with 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Remember, I told you they had a turnover ratio of -3. They only had 1 defensive turnover. It's the interception. Rush defense. Let's see how the rush defense is, because they had a hell of a defense when you go to Florida State. Teams have carried the ball for 120 times. They have ran for 518. That is 172.7 yards per game. They are averaging 4.3 yards a carry with 5 rushing touchdowns. This is on the Florida State's defense. So while you're getting 2.2 yards a carry on offense, the opposing team is getting 4.3 yards a carry on offense. You're only getting 52 yards per game rushing. The opponent is getting 173 yards per game. That is 123 or 21 difference in rushing yards. Difference. And one of the most crucial downs there is in football is the third down. Florida State is 23.3% on third down on offense. The opponent, so when Florida State's defense is on the field, they had 50%. I don't know. I just don't know. I gave you all the losses that they had, right? But let me put it on the screen for it, because I do have it on there. So you lost 24-21 in Ireland to Georgia Tech. Boston College ran through you. And if Cole Johnson is still watching, maybe he can remind me of the official numbers. But I do recall that Boston College almost ran for 300 yards on y'all, and y'all weren't even close to 100 yards rushing. And that's how you got your ass whooped 28-13 at Doak Campbell Stadium. Doak Campbell Stadium, that's in Tallahassee, Florida. Oh, and speaking of Doak Campbell Stadium, you was there like this past weekend, and Memphis walked in there and beat you 20-20. Mike Norvell's former team, before Mike Norvell became the head coach of Florida State. Those of you who don't know, Mike Norvell was the head coach of the Memphis Tigers. Remember the years when the Memphis Tigers and the USC Knights were battling back and forth in this little rivalry they had going on for the American Conference? Yeah, Mike Norvell was on the sideline for the Memphis Tigers. And Scott Frost was on the sideline for UCF. Mike Norvell was doing so good, Florida State called him instead of Deion Sanders to coach Florida State because of what he was doing in Memphis. That same program walked into Doak Campbell Stadium this past Saturday and beat them 20-12. Y'all couldn't even beat Mike Norvell's former team from the American Conference. That's why it was interesting when I did my little tirade when the Clemson Tigers and the Florida State Seminoles renewed their revenue shares talks with the ACC, and it was talking about brand valuation and TV revenue. That's why I said it, because the Florida State Seminoles are 0-3. They haven't won a damn game. And if you notice, none of the teams that they have played are ranked when they played them. Georgia State wasn't even thought of when the rankings came out, and Florida State was already ranked in the top 10. They didn't change. No, the committee didn't make no change. They said not everybody plays, so we're gonna keep Florida State at 10 when we go into Labor Day. And then Boston College ran all up down the field on you, so you had 2 top 10 losses. You had 2 losses as a top 10 team out the gate. So you went from that to being underranked, and then Memphis just beat you. One of the differences in Florida State this year than previous years is quarterback play. DJ Uiagalelei. He is 55 for 99 passing. That is 56.6% completion percentage. Passing for 666 passing yards. That is 222 passing yards per game. 6.7 yards per attempt. He has only passed for 1 touchdown. He's only threw 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. This man started at Clemson, felt some type of way about Dabo Swinney, transferred to Oregon State. Did pretty good at Oregon State. Didn't want to stay there because he felt he couldn't get the notoriety out of shine at Oregon State, especially what happened to the Pac-12. Now they're at the Pac-2. So he went to Florida State to take over for Jordan Travis, who is now in the NFL recovering from ACL surgery, being the backup to Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor. So you bring in DJ, you bring in a veteran in college terms. And this is the position that you're getting from him. It's not very, but not good. You complete more than 50% of your passes. Okay, you is putting the ball in. You're giving the nice over 200 yards passing yards, but you only got one passing touchdown, and you threw 2 interceptions. It's not looking good for you, DJ. And Florida State fans can't stand you right now. You want to tell how I know? Because I got a lot of friends that are Florida State fans, and trust me, they be all up and down my social media timeline going off about you and Mike Novell. But I don't. Your next 5 games. I see Cal, who is undefeated, but haven't. The only game that I really care about Cal is they went to Auburn. They beat Auburn in Auburn, by the way. Outside of that, they have really done nothing. SMU. We're going to get to see what SMU was looking like this weekend. And that may be shining some light when the Florida State Stems got to head to that area of the Dallas-Fort Worth area to take on the Mustangs. And then it's the usually the battle for the conference. Well, it won't be that this year. Between Clemson and Florida State in Doak Campbell Stadium. Before they head to Duke on October 18th, and then their fateful game down in Coral Gables, Miami, when you go take a visit to the Hurricanes, who are ranked 8th in the country, by the way. I don't even know what games I can pick for y'all to win. I really don't know. I would say Cal, because I've never seen Cal be good in anything football since Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch. SMU, they always up and down. You can never tell. Clemson, Dabo Swinney, he's struggling. He don't know how to use the transfer portal. He don't want to use the transfer portal. He wants to develop his players. That development of players is not working out the way that he wanted to work out. So I don't even know how that game's going to go. Duke is 3-0, and they had a whole coaching staff change. And they working undefeated. And then if Miami don't beat y'all by 50, I'll be surprised. Even though it's a rivalry game, it's Miami, bro. Miami's a whole different ball club right now. I don't know what to tell you. And then there's Mike Novell. People in Tallahassee and Florida State fans all over this state. They are so disappointed in you, sir. So disappointed in you. Oh my gosh. The level of play from the Seminoles has distraught fans all through this state of Florida. You don't believe me? They are coming to the stadium with paper bags over their heads with the writing 0-12 and a question mark. They are looking like at Florida State go 0-12 already, and you got another fan coming to the game with a sign around his neck that says, "We are cooked." This is what it's like in Florida State right now. 3 weeks into the new season. 3 weeks. It says 3 weeks into the new season. This is what they are like. But they ain't the only team. As you can see, look at this. That's what is going on in Tallahassee right now. This is what it's like to be a Florida State fan right now. This is what it is. There's nothing else I can tell you. But they're not the only team in the state of Florida that is falling on hard times. The Florida Gators. Yeah. 1-2 on the season. 0-1 in conference play. We dropped 82 points. That's 27.3 points per game. Opponents at 81, 27 points per game. So don't let that fool you, because one game we smacked one team around like we supposed to. but didn't look good in the other 2 games. So look, those numbers are kind of screwed. Okay, so don't fall into don't fall into that trap. I'm just letting you know. We have a turnover ratio of -4. We have 6 offensive turnovers to 2 defensive turnovers. The funny thing is, when we got both of those turnovers on the defensive side, we couldn't do nothing with it. Passing, we're completing 61.5% of our passes for 279 yards per game, 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So we're 1-to-1 when it comes to touchdown and interception ratio. So every touchdown we throw a pick. For every pick we throw a touchdown. That's pretty much what we're doing. The rushing game, 87 carries throughout the season with 357 yards. That is 119 yards per game, 4.1 yards per carry with 6 rushing touchdowns. The running game is working. The running game works. Somehow the passing game ain't clicking for whatever reason. It's hit or miss. And we don't look good. We just don't look good. Defensively, our pass defense giving up close to 69% completion percentage, which is not good for a secondary that's supposed to be representing the Florida Gators. Giving up 236 yards per game to 5 touchdown passes, and we only got 1 interception. Not very good on the back end. The back end is not looking very good. But hey, they're not alone because the rush defense is not that good either. Out of 123 carries, the opponents are rushing for 515 yards this season on us. So per game, that is 171 yards per game. 4.2 yards per carry with 4 rushing touchdowns. So not only teams are passing on us, they are running the ball on us too. So we can kill in both directions. Our passing offense is not that great, but the opponents are as good. And you can say the running game on both sides is fairly even. So that doesn't bode well for us because we can't get the passing right, and we can't stop the goddamn pass. Just like Florida State, guess what? Florida is 27.3 on third downs, while the opponent is at a 42% rate on third downs. Not as bad as Florida State, because Florida State opponents are 50% on third downs, which means they have a better chance of making it on them than against us. But like I said, numbers are kind of screwed because one of the games that we won, we blew the team out like we're supposed to. So let me show you. We got our ass whooped by Miami right out the gate. Right out the gate. My ass got handed to me by Kuma Kane. Right out the gate. That's right out the gate. And I watched the game and I'm like, this is crazy. I couldn't even back out of Monster Wrestling that following Monday because we had a premium live event to recap. Thank you, Triple H. And then following week, we started DJ Legway against Sanford, and you see what we did: 45-7, an ass whooping, like it's supposed to be. And then we come back at home for the third consecutive time. First ACC game of the year, with Texas A&M coming rolling in when both teams were people like somebody gonna get a nice win, which is gonna be much needed, and the other team gonna be at a loss for we was at a loss at the beginning. Don't let that score fool you that Texas A&M only won by 13. No, Texas A&M whooped our ass. That game was not close. Colwood Johnson would tell you. I don't know if Cool watched Cool would tell you. Any Florida fan would tell you that game was not as close as you might think it was. That was an ass whooping from A&M to Florida in the swamp. So we don't look good at home, just like Florida State don't look good at home. Florida State lost all 3 of their games, 2 of them which were at home. The other one was over the seas in Ireland. We lost. We got 2 ass whoopings in the swamp, and we won 1 in the swamp. So both teams can't defend the whole field, which is ridiculous. And we got our 2 quarterback system. Graham Mertz, who is the starting quarterback for the Florida Gators, completing almost 66% of his passes. He's throwing for 286 passing yards. That's 143 passing yards per game, which is not good. When you're talking about passing in college, you need to be close to 300. But he did miss that Sanford game with an injury he suffered against Miami. He is going 8.2 yards per attempt, so he is trying to get the ball down the field somewhat. Only has 1 passing touchdown and 2 interceptions. DJ Ugalangale all over again. This time, but is in Graham Mertz's body. Go figure. And then we get to DJ Legway. He's completing 61.5% of his passes, 540 yards passing. That's 180 yards per game, 12.3 yards per attempt. He's getting the ball more down the field than Graham Hurts, which I'm not even mad about the whole 8.3 because you're trying to get the ball down the field. That lets me know you're trying and you're not being stagnant and trying to do dump balls and stuff. While DJ Uiagalelei for Florida State, 6.7 yards per attempt. You know, Graham Hurts, he'll try to make the right decision, give me a dump off here, give me a crossing there. When I can, I would take my shots down the field. Hopefully we can complete them and whatnot. It hasn't fallen that way. DJ Legway, he's trying to make plays. Okay. He's going out there. He's like, I want to make an impact right away and trying to make that impact right away. Is the reason why you have thrown for 4 touchdowns, but you also threw 3 picks. So Lagway has to figure out how to be in the middle. Don't mind you taking your shots, okay? Take them when you got them, but be careful with the football. The more time you give the team the football, the better opportunity is to whoop our ass, which Texas A&M did this past weekend. Graham Hurts also turned the ball off against A&M too, so both of y'all turned the ball off against A&M. But look, you know, maybe you and Mertz can work together and y'all can combine and understand each other so that Lagway can take what Mertz does and put it into his game, and Mertz can see how electrifying Lagway is coming in and probably see what he can take from it. Y'all figure it out, because if y'all just take care of freaking football, we'll be all right. Offensively, defensively, I have nothing to say defensively. Defensively, I have nothing to say. We can't stop the pass. We can't stop the run. And somehow, some way, teams can score 30 on us with no problem. See, Florida State don't have that problem. Florida State ain't giving up 30 points like that. The most they gave up was 28. That was the Boston College. They gave up 24 to Georgia Tech, 28 to Boston College, and 20 to Mississippi. The problem is with them, they just can't score worth a damn. You'll be lucky to get a touchdown out of Florida State. But with us, Miami, you go ahead and drop 41 like it ain't nothing. Texas A&M, go ahead and drop 33 like it ain't nothing. And then we got to make a furious comeback to make the score look respectable. That doesn't work. That's why we look so damn terrible. But we have a 2-quarterback system. Quarterbacks, they trying. They making mistakes. We can't stand it. We hate it. Play calling has something to do with it as well. Execution has something to do with it as well. But guess what? We're not going after the quarterbacks. Believe it or not. We're not going after quarterbacks. If you believe Gator fans are going after quarterbacks, they're really not. They're not going after quarterbacks. But I'm going to tell you who they're going after real quickly, but I want to let you know. For those of you who don't remember, the hardest schedule in college football is the Florida Gators. This ain't even the dangerous part of the schedule. We go to Mississippi State this weekend. That is we on ESPN, so I will have to watch this game as a Gator fan. I will have to watch it. We on a bye week the following week, then we have UCF in the Swamp, and it's going to be in prime time. What channel is going to be on, it remains to be seen, especially if they look anywhere replicant of a Florida team that they need to look like against Mississippi State, and they come out 2-2. And if UCF continues and they come out 4-0, that's really going to be a game for me to watch in prime time. And I will be watching it. I don't care if it started at 6 or 8. I don't give a crap. And I'm going to sit here. I'm going to look at it from an analyst perspective, even though I am a Gator fan. Remember, I went to UCF. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look at this game in an objective manner. And I'm going to come here that following Wednesday, and I'm going to give you my honest take on that game. So I'm pretty much telling you, this most likely this game going to be on a slate, on the campus tour slate for week 5. Oh, week 6. Sorry, I say week 6 because we have a bye week after Mississippi State. Then it's the trip to Rocky Top to take on the Tennessee Volunteers, and that's a L. I don't see us doing anything with Tennessee. Then we come back home to host Kentucky. Kentucky got their ass whipped by South Carolina. They look pretty damn good against Georgia. They just took a 1-point loss to Georgia, so who knows what kind of Kentucky team is going to show up in the Swamp for that one. That's going to be ugly. And then this is where the death row of the death schedule begins. November 2nd in Jacksonville against the Georgia Bulldogs. Just for clarification, that's why I say that the death row starts there against Georgia. Because after you come to Jacksonville and play Georgia, you might get your ass whooped. Then you go to Austin, Texas to take on the Texas Longhorn, you might get your ass whooped there. Then you come home, you got to play the LSU Tigers. You may have a chance, you may not have a chance because later on in the season, and part of LSU probably figure out how to be a goddamn Tigers all of a sudden. And then after that, Miss and Lane Kiffin comes walking into Gainesville, Florida. That's an ass whooping before you take your ass to Doak Cap Stadium to play Florida State. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss. 4 weeks straight. 4 weeks straight. That's why that is the death row of the schedule. And that's before we get to Florida State. So this guy right here, Billy Napier. Oh, Gainesville want your head on a silver platter. Well, you have no. Well, you probably know because I'm pretty sure they probably told you about it. They want your head on a silver platter. Year 3, knowing the type of schedule that you was gonna have, and you got the Florida Gators looking like this year. You knew damn well you had a harder schedule. You knew damn well what was coming 2 years in advance. That schedule came out 2 years in advance. We knew the schedule when you became the head coach of the Florida Gators. So you knew going in year 3 was going to be hell. And you still look garbage. You still look in it. If I can say everything that these fans I put on social media, oh my Lord, they want your head. There are reports saying boosters have already put up the money for your buyout. That's how bad people want you out of Gainesville right now. Despite the fact we have the worst schedule in the college football world. They do not care. They rather lose every single game this year if you get fired. They want you gone. They can't stand your butt right now. They really can't. This is why it is very, very terrible right now. In Gainesville. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That was the Miami game. Plastered all over social media and ESPN. Against Miami. That was a live shot. Devastation to watch the Hurricanes walk in here and bring a hurricane to Gainesville. Because that's pretty much what they were. There was a hurricane from that point. You want to see what they're looking like against Texas A&M? That guy is pissed off. That guy's pissed off. The lady over there, she don't know what to think right now. The lady on behind her, she's in a pitiful state right now. The dude with the hat turned back is like me. He's just sitting there like, it is what it is at this point. And the lady that's you can honestly have her face, she look like she want to cry right now. She look like she want to cry. She look like she is heartbroken of what she is seeing on the football field in Gainesville, Florida. This is what the fan base in Gainesville look like. Miami on top, Texas A&M at the bottom. He's drunk and disgusted. He's so drunk. He actually knows what's going on. He still knows what's happening. That's not bad. You can have alcohol at the game and you just disgusted of what you're seeing in Gainesville, Florida. 2 fan bases, both in the same state. Both are world-known, recognized in the college football world. Looking like hot garbage to start the 2024 college football season. Florida State 0-3 to begin the season. And they have losses to Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis. Florida 1-2 with losses to Miami in a blowout, Texas A&M in the blowout, and the one win that they got was against Sanford, in which they supposed to do what they needed to do. Nevertheless, both fan bases are disgusted. One fan base is coming to their team's home game with paper bags on their heads and a sign saying we're cooked. And the other fan bases, they are getting drunk, but not even the alcohol can relieve the displeasure, the upsetment of what they are seeing in the swamp. This is where we are at in the state of Florida. Because Miami is ranked number 8 in the country and is not being really talked about. Not even Cool McCain is talking about his Hurricanes like that because he still got a jury out on them to see what happens to the middle point of the season. And UCF, the other 3 schools like Miami, Florida State, and Florida, they act like UCF don't exist. But guess what? UCF is just undefeated, just like Miami at 3-0. One team is relevant because they are the Miami Hurricanes, and the other team, the other 3 schools like the cast aside, like they don't matter. In the UCF Knights, those teams are 3-0. But the other 2 teams that people love talking about in the state of Florida, Florida State and Florida, they are combined 1-5. And people want to fire coaches, but here's the problem. Mike Norvell will have a $65 million buyout if he is fired from the University of Florida State. And for Billy Napier, much lesser, but $26 million if Strickland fires him today. This is what happens when you try to hire coaches and you give them the lucrative deal and the product doesn't match the lucrative deal. Can it change? We don't know. Should it change? We hope so. But nevertheless, these 2 teams are pitiful to watch play football this year. And that's something that you will never associate with 2 of the premier schools in the state of Florida. At least one of them will be good. The other one might be struggling. And then you have Miami, who is up and down. All of a sudden, both of these 2 schools are struggling, and Miami's trying to make their comeback. They are making their rise back to relevancy as they are at the 8th ranked team in the country, while Florida State and Florida are having to deal with crisis from their fan base with the product that's being put on the fields at Doak Campbell Stadium and in the swamp.
I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
World where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams. Whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening,
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on Sartoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Cool McCain.
All right, welcome back. Now that I got that off my chest. Oh my gosh. Terrible. Just terrible. Cole Johnson chimes in. You both can go to Miami and ask how they were able to survive a program being hard garbage for years. Cole Johnson. You're my brother, so I'm going to let you know this. Florida State and Florida, they don't like doing hard garbage for years. Not years. Like that's why they want heads rolled right now. That's why they want heads to be rolled right now in Tallahassee and Gainesville right now. They don't want to do years. You don't even have to leave the state to see what a program did to get back to relevancy, which is true. But like I said, people in Tallahassee and Gainesville, they don't want to be a part of years of despair. They'll take 1 or 2, but they will roll heads quick, fast, in a hurry. That's just what I know about Florida fans and Florida State fans. Miami fans are a lot more patient than the other 2 programs. A lot more patient. So, and I'm pretty sure Cool McCain can back me up on that. So there wasn't a lot of vitriol and disdain talks throughout social media when Miami was going through what they was going through. But with Florida and Florida State, 2 games in, we can't have this. No. Florida State fans and Florida fans have no patience for this. You see what they did to Dan Mullen? They wanted his head on the silver platter too. And that's the last time we actually was in a SEC championship game when he was the coach. And they wanted his head on the silver platter. So I'm just telling you how these 2 fan bases are. Me personally, I'm the one that said give Bill Napier 3 years. And you know me, you know I say this a lot. I like to give coaches 3 years. It takes 3 years to finally get your system in place and to see what you really look like. And he said, I get it. When you have years of Spurrier at Florida and Bobby Bowden at Florida State, you'll want to be in the next championship conversation. That's what they are. This is what it is. All right. Now that I got the sobness and the soapbox out the way, we can get back to business at hand because we do have a week to prepare for. And Cole Johnson says Florida State did GoFundMe's for Willie Taggart after his first loss in the program. Exactly. And Cole McCain says, too soon, Mr. Johnson, too soon, with 3 rolling laughing emojis. So Cole McCain just sitting back and joining us because his canes look decent, look good for once. But now let's go on our faithful campus tour. And we're going to begin our campus tour on Friday, September 20th, 8 p.m. on Fox. We're going to Cornhuskers Land when the 22nd ranked Cornhuskers host the 24th ranked Final Night of Illinois in the Big Ten opener for both teams. This is the way Nebraska looked at against Colorado 2 weeks ago was certain eye-opening. Want to see if they can build on that. And Illinois, who knocked off then ranked Kansas and won that upset special. Looking forward to see how that goes. Nebraska 7.5 favorite as of today. Very interesting how that game would go. All right. Let's go to Saturday. Now we get to our Saturday slate, and our Saturday slate begins in the ACC with the Clemson Tigers hosting the NC State Wolfpack. That is 12 p.m. on ABC on Saturday. Let's see if the Clemson Tiger can handle business at home. Defend what is normally known as Death Valley. It hasn't been a Death Valley for about a year now, so we can Death Valley come back to be what is being known to be, or can NC State walk in there and handle business? Coach Johnson says about the Nebraska game, I am interested to see if Nebraska can still dominate up front with the Nala. That's a matchup I'm looking forward to as well. But I want to see Dabo. Do you understand the mission at hand? Do you understand the mission at hand here? Florida State is out the question. Can you do something to get you ready? If you see Miami, do y'all play Miami this year? I don't even think y'all play Miami this year. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I don't even think y'all see Miami this year. Let me look at your schedule. No, you don't see Miami. You got NC State this week. You have Stanford next week. You go to Tallahassee to begin October. You got Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville. If Louisville's still doing what Louisville things are doing, there should be a ranked versus ranked matchup. You go to Blacksburg against Georgia Tech. Then you go to Pittsburgh. You got the Citadel. You got South Carolina. So in all likelihood, the way things are going, we could get a Miami Clemson ACC championship match for the spot in the playoffs. Yeah, Dabo can do what he's supposed to do. But it's Dabo, so we don't even know. You don't even know. And Cole Johnson says, Dabo didn't understand the mission with Georgia molly whooping them in Atlanta. Yeah, well, I told you that was going to happen. You think I picked Georgia? Standing at ACC, but we have a Sun Belt versus ACC matchup. James Madison, the Dukes, taking on the Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. Very interesting game that they put on the schedule. I didn't even know James Madison agreed to play North Carolina. But when you James Madison, you don't run from competition. That game will be on the ACC network at 12 p.m. And North Carolina is a 10.5-point favorite. Wait. Don't usually when we have a game like this, when it's a Power 4 conference versus a Group of 5 conference, a team from the Sun Belt Conference, 10.5 is like, what the heck? See? North Carolina. Even Vegas is putting y'all on upset alert. They only gave y'all 10 points. 10.5. They saying y'all better come to play against James Madison. 10.5-point favorite. That's all y'all get. This is a Sun Belt team, but it's an ACC team. Oh, Vegas is on one on that one. Vegas on one on that one. University of North Carolina actually plays football. Oh, Cole Johnson with the jokes today. Cole Johnson got the jokes today. Wow. Yes, they play football. You know this. All right. This is a game that I am waiting on. I can't wait to watch this. CBS 3:30. The first Big Ten game for the USC Trojans, and it's in the big house to take on the reigning defending national champion, the 18th-ranked Wolverines of Michigan. Now, Michigan is coming back from what? An ass whooping that they took at the hands of Texas. Because that's exactly what it was. And I'm pretty sure Cole Johnson is still throwing a party for that ass whooping that they handed Michigan the way that they did. And, they bounced back against Arkansas State 28-18. Don't like the performance. And USC looks comfortable. Lincoln Riley got them boys playing some hard-nosed ball. They are playing defense in Southern California. So I'm pretty sure Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge, loves that. USC, 5-point favorites on the road. Should be a very interesting, tight, contested game here. And we're going to see how USC does when they now go against competition of the teams that like to play power football. One of the teams being the Michigan Wolverines. Let's see how that works out for them. All right. Continue our 30-30 slot. The ABC game for 3:30 with the SEC on ABC contains a Big Ten SEC matchup down in Death Valley, where the UCLA Bruins come traveling to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They take on the 16-ranked LSU Tigers. The Bayou Tigers, or the Bayou Bengals, should I say, 24-point favorites. That is a lot of damn points. Jeez, that's a lot of points to be favored by. UCLA is 1-1. So who did they play? They got a victory against Wyoming, 16-3 at Wyoming, and they took a 42-13 loss to Indiana. And now I can see why LSU is a 24-point favorite. How you only beat Hawaii by 3 points? You only beat Hawaii by 3 points. 3 points. And you got your ass whooped by Indiana, which is a Big Ten conference game, by the way, because they are part of the Big Ten now. Good gracious. What? Whoa. So we got one LA school up to the Big House to take on Michigan. We got the other LA school down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana to take on the LSU Tigers. And it's more like LSU going to be the one that get their ass whooped, according to Vegas and ESPN. The first non-Rose Bowl matchup of USC versus Michigan. I want to see if USC can follow that W against LSU with this game in the Big House. Coach Johnson also says UCLA tried to find a way to beat Brian Kelly's Southern accent out of him Saturday. He also said UCLA hasn't fared well in the Big Ten competition already. Yeah, 42-13 to Indiana. And matter of fact, that was at the Rose Bowl, by the way. That was in LA. That was not at Indiana. That was in LA. That ass woman took place in LA. To even add more to your credence there, sir. Sticking with the afternoon slate, let's go to what almost was my spotlight game of the week. Almost, because we talking Big 12 action here. Stillwater, Oklahoma. 14-ranked Cowboys hosting tough-ranked Utes of Utah. I am definitely looking forward to this game. Like I said, this game was almost my spotlight game of the week. It was almost my spotlight game of the week. But, I had to do the right thing here. So you have my my Big 12 pick in Utah going against the team that I normally pick to win the Big 12 and the Cowboys and Mike Gundy going at it. Vegas and ESPN have some disagreements here. Vegas says Utah 2-point favorites on the road in Stillwater. Their first Big 12 game since they became members of the Big 12. So this is their first Big 12 game. ESPN gives the Cowboys of Oklahoma State 63% chance of winning this game. Defending home turf against the Utes of Utah. So disagreements by ESPN in Vegas. I like when there's disagreement. It gives excitement to it. It gives a little credence of what's going on. All right. Cole Johnson says, I need to see the Utes play. Oklahoma has won. Quote, we don't bring our A game, Cole's quote. Performance this year in them. Hey, what can I tell you? I don't know what to tell you on that one. All right. And then CW. Yes, the network CW, who's going to get NXT in about 2 weeks' times. The CW network is trying to make a name for themselves in the sports industry. They're getting NXT from the WWE. And then they got this game, a rivalry game, that is, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This time it Southern Methodist University Mustangs are the home team against Texas Christian University Horned Frogs in a Big 12 ACC matchup. That's right, the SMU Mustangs, those of you who must have forgot, are part of the ACC. Because you already know TCU is part of the Big 12. But yes, the Mustangs are part of the ACC. So now this rivalry has become Big 12 versus ACC now. This is at 5 p.m. on the CW network. So the CW network is now showing college football games. This is getting very interesting. More college football games on broadcast television. Nobody's going to complain about that. That is free television. With that being said, let's see. Where does Vegas see this game going? Vegas says, let me go look. 3 points to the Horned Frogs. I can see that. I can see that. Too bad this game isn't taking place in the 1980s. I wanted them to end the game in a tie. What is up with you and ties, bro? Between you and Snowman, y'all want games to end in ties. Why? I want a winner and I want a loser. I don't need ties. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. That's the only fair way to have this going. And then you cannot say this because you're a Longhorns fan. Because I can care less that you're a Longhorns fan because there's nothing in me that's, for what I know in you, says anything that you hate TCU and SMU. The two teams you can't stand the most is Texas A&M and Oklahoma. Nowhere in the conversation that I had with you, we have ever brought up TCU and SMU. So the fact you want this game in the tie don't make no sense to me. It just doesn't. It really don't. Let's go to another ACC versus Big Ten matchup here. We're going to Boston. We're going to Boston, Massachusetts. But Boston College Eagles take on a Mississippi State Spartans. I have no idea how this game's going to go. If I'm being completely honest, I have no idea. Boston College looks good. They look good. They look the part. Now, they did take an L to the Missouri Tigers, but Missouri Tigers ranked in the top 10. So what you expect? And I haven't watched Mississippi State play at all this season, so I don't even know what type of team they got. But I'm going to see what ESPN got for me. ESPN is telling me that the spread says 6.5 in favor of the Eagles of Boston College. 78, almost 79% of ESPN analytics favors the Boston College. So they must not like what they're seeing from the green and white up in the Michigan State Spartan land. So very interesting choice, but yeah, I hear it. No, well, he says, why do I want this game in the tie? Because they are Dallas area schools. They are both losers. You just say everything, Dallas. Like TCU and SMU has nothing to do with Dallas Cowboys at all. But your hate for the city. I have heard you say the city of Dallas is not that bad. But you're gonna sit here and hate every sports team in the city. Which two of which don't have nothing to do with your Texas Longhorns. TCU nor SMU has anything to do with your Texas Longhorns. And thus me saying that, yes, I know I'm saying it because TCU is in the Big 12. But how many times has TCU ever beat Texas? Outside that 1 year, they went flying to the national championship before they got ramrodded by the Georgia Bulldogs. Speaking of the Big 12, we're going to head back to the Big 12. We're going to Utah as the BYU Cougars host 13th ranked Kansas State Wildcats. Now, if I'm being completely honest, BYU might have a chance. They're at home, but I don't give them much of a chance to knock off the Wildcats at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN, which will probably be about either 7:30 or 8:30 in Utah. So I think Utah time, is that Rocky Mountain time or West Coast time? I think it's Rocky time. So I'm thinking 8:30-ish over there if I'm correct. Coach Johnson will correct me because that's what he does. Kansas State, 6.5 point favorites on the road. They get a 70% chance of winning from ESPN Analytics. So yeah, I can see that. It sounds strange to say BYU is in a conference, let alone the Big 12. They've been the Big 12 since last year. You still ain't used to it yet? They had a whole season in the Big 12. You still ain't used to it yet. Oh my gosh. And then the spotlight game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It's only fitting that I kind of ended this with the Big 12 because we're going to a former team that was in the Big 12 because College Game Day is going to Norman, Oklahoma for the first SEC game for the Oklahoma Sooners, who are ranked 15 in the country. And their first game in the Southeastern Conference brings in the 6th ranked team in the land, the Volunteers of Tennessee. Now we getting interesting here. My spotlight game of the week, College Game is going to be there. I'm like, I can't pass that up. 7:30 p.m. ABC. That is the primetime game to watch Saturday night. Tennessee, a full touchdown favorite. That means 7 points. A full touchdown favorite. ESPN Analytics says it's a 71.1% chance that the Volunteers will walk out of Norman, Oklahoma, undefeated. And the Oklahoma Sooners has a 28.9% chance to walk out of Soonerland undefeated. Both teams come in at 3-0. The quarterback for Tennessee, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. That dude is as advertised. He's almost thrown for 700 yards this season. He has 6 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions. Their running game with Samson is phenomenal. He's at 357 rushing yards on the season with 9 rushing touchdowns. They only played 3 games. This man has 9 rushing touchdowns. That man has 3 touchdowns per game already. We're going to see if Oklahoma has a run defense this year. So that shit's going to get tested when Tennessee come walking in there. It's definitely going to get tested. I'm looking forward to that matchup. Okay. Coach Johnson says BYU is in the Mountain West time zone, so that's 2 hours behind the East Coast, not 3 hours. Thank you, sir. So that'll be around 8:30 when they kick off at their local time, and that'll be 10:30 on the East Coast. Cool McCain called Coach Johnson the Barticle Dallas hater. He says, I'm still not used to BYU being a conference. And he says, Cool, talking cool. You doggone right, Mr. McCain. The Rangers, the Mavericks, the Stars, the Cowboys, TCU, and SMU need to lose every game they play. You just diabolical. And he says, come on, Tennessee. Give the Sooners that work. It's 4:06 p.m. and OU still sucks. Don't y'all play each other next week? So I'm guessing you're getting ready for the Red River rivalry next week, if I'm correct. When is that game? Nope, they have Mississippi State next week. That be in Texas. When is that game? Oh, that game's in 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now. So we're talking October 12th. Damn, that's the same week Florida plays Tennessee. Oh, October 12th going to be nasty. Oh, oh boy. In 3 weeks time, that's gonna be a hell of a week. Oh, I'm glad I looked at it. That's gonna be a hell of a week. That is 3 weeks from now. So we're in week 4. Week 7 gonna be nasty. Oh, week 7 gonna be nasty. Thank you, sir. Even though I already found it. All right. So that would do it for our campus tour. And we're going to go ahead and continue on so we can get out of here because we are, like I said, it was going to go longer than normal. And we're going to jump right into our Bear Down Play 10. And those of you who don't know who are new to the show, our Blair Down Play 10 is me. After I go through the campus tour, then I give you my picks of the games that we have talked about. So we're going to begin. You don't see it on screen. I put it in the wrong order, but I do have Kansas beating. I do have Nebraska beating Iowa at home. Give me Clemson to knock off. Give me Clemson to win. I like Clemson to look like a team for once over NC State. There you go. I got Nebraska on Friday beating Illinois. I have North Carolina defending home turf over the JMU Dudes. I think just for the name that it sounds like Duke, North Carolina, to take that and use that as a chip on the shoulder because it's saying Dupes. Sounds like Blue Devils, so go ahead and use that as motivation to beat up on them. Give me the Trojans. And I know Cole Johnson just put both his hands on his head in a shock moment because he knows how I feel about USC. But yes, I'm picking the Trojans to go to the big house and handle business against the Michigan Wolverines. I did not pick Michigan in this one. I picked the Trojans. So sports judge, you better be thankful. I'm not being biased today. I'm picking your Trojans. Give me the LSU Tigers defend home turf, the death valley in the SEC, and really the death valley in all the college football over the we don't know who this team is in the UCLA Bruins. Give me Utah. I mean, I picked Utah to win the Big 12. So what makes you think I'm going to pick Mike Gundy to win this game? Even though I would like to have picked the Oklahoma State Cowboys, but every time I picked them, they didn't want to show up. They found a way to lose that one game that they're not supposed to lose. So yeah, give me Utah, my Big 12 champions, to beat Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm taking SMU over TCU. That's a shocking pick. Those who don't know, that is a shocking pick to make. I am picking SMU to beat TCU. Usually I would pick TCU in this tape. I'm flipping it. I'm taking SMU. I think SMU might show just that one time this year. And this will be the game they show up and get the dub. This is the game. This is the game for SMU right here. I'm going to believe in them this year. Give me Boston College to bounce back from that loss to take care of business against Mississippi State at home. I'm taking Kansas State. I don't see BYU doing anything over. I don't see BYU hanging with Kansas State. I don't. It could be a close game. I could be wrong. And BYU give themselves a chance to win. But I do like the 13th ranked broadcast to handle business on the road and come out with a victory. And then I spotlight every week. Before I get to that, Cole says, smart pick with USC, but yes, I'm shocked the bias is not in the building. Told you. He knows. Those of you who don't know, I can't stand the USC Trojans with everything in me. But I do this show as an unbiased person, so I'm pick USC. He also says, you're all correct. Mike Gundy will find a way to lose this game. They almost found a way to lose. They almost found a way to lose Arkansas. I was ready to go off too. I was ready. I had it ready. So yep, here we go. Finna go off on Mike Gundy. Here we go. This is why I didn't pick them. Heck, your butt don't even care. Talking some SMU over TCU, boo. You don't even care. You would did the same thing about to pick TCU over SMU. You would still did the same thing. Get your butt out of here. And our spotlight game of the week. That was our fan vote for this week. And the fans have spoken. 61.5% are rolling with the Volunteers or walk into Norman, Oklahoma and come out victorious of a 4-0 start to the season. 38.5% says Oklahoma will stay undefeated at home. Nevertheless, we do have the Tennessee Volunteers. Who does the playmaker pick to win this game? Every game thus far that we have done with the spotlight game voting, I have went with the fans. Okay. The fans voted for Notre Dame in week 1. I went with them. Okay. They voted for who I did in week 2. I forgot who I did in week 2, but we went with them in week 2. We did the same thing last week. Actually, I got it right here. Now that I'm looking at it. Sure. Week 2, the fans went with Texas over Michigan, and I went with Texas. And then this past weekend, we did Alabama, Wisconsin. I went with Alabama, so with the fans. So do I rock with the fans for a 4th week in a row as they are going with Tennessee? Yes, I do. I'm taking the Volunteers to go into Norman, Oklahoma and beat the Oklahoma Sooners. Apologies to my stepfather. But he knows me, and he knows I will be objective as I can be. And yeah, I'm going with Tennessee Volunteers to come out undefeated in this undefeated matchup of a top 10 matchup in the SEC to come out victorious. So, just to recap, give me Nebraska Friday night, over Illinois. They give me Clemson, North Carolina, USC, LSU, Utah, SMU, Boston College, Kansas State, and Tennessee all get the dubs. And then you see at the bottom of my fan vote, 61.5% take Tennessee over Oklahoma. And that is our Bear Down Play 10. And Cole Johnson's laughing because you know me too well, because I know if I were to pick TCU over SMU, you just put the same thing. You just would have burst the words. Like, come on, get your butt out of here. You was gonna say boo regardless. I ain't like you and Brian Snow that want ties, just that get ties. That don't make sense. Should be no ties in football. It shouldn't be no ties in sports, period, to be honest. No sporting event should have ties, okay? You should have the fit of the winter in these sports. And that's how I feel. All right. But with that being said, shout out to my brother Cole Johnson, my co-host Cool McCain, and anybody else that was listening in on today's episode. I know we went long, but I had to talk about the state of emergency in the state of Florida, with Florida State and Florida. Had to get that off my chest. So those of you who will be listening to this on the Real Rise Radio on Saturday morning, it's going to be a long episode. It's going to let you know that because I had to let some things off. But outside of that, you can also catch this on 502 American Angel Radio up in Indiana. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio is where you can get this at, which is also great. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here with this final thing. And Cole Johnson's still going in the track. He said, Hey. I don't say LeBron sucks as a basketball player. How dare you say that? Find a lie. Once you find a lie, then I will correct it. But find a lie. All right. And with that being said, I'm going to leave you out with a special thing that Cole Johnson did for me. It includes all three of my shows that I put together. And then we're going to play the intro. So with that being said, I will see y'all next Wednesday right here on Bearing Down the Gridiron, recapping week 4 and get you ready for week 5.
College game.
The way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
The women's college game.
And how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference. They got their mojo now.
The WNBA.
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young.
Or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. The Big Ten.
How would people on the campus of Ohio State University, how would they look at Ryan Day?
The SEC.
Until somebody can show me that they can beat Georgia outside of Alabama, I got to roll with the Bulldogs.
The Big 12.
Mike Gundy, show me something. I picked you last year, okay?
The ACC.
I need Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers to show me that they are understanding what the mission is at hand.
And the Pac-12. Whoa. I'm sorry, the Pac-2. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down every single week all the hot college football games. Bearing Down the Gridiron on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We will see about Cup. And running back Kerryon Williams. to return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network.